Is there good stress? When change occurs, we react based on our habits, our personal resources, and our coping skills. It often depends on how we interpret the change. This determines whether we find the change beneficial or detrimental. We can choose our interpretation. Is the change a challenge to rise to, or is it a threat? In other words, if we think the change is good or motivating, it can inspire us to greatness. If the same demand is interpreted as a threat to you, you may avoid it. So there is such a thing as good stress. Hans Selye, an endocrinologist, dubbed it Eustress, pronounced Eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. These are demands that are thought to be positive. Obviously, if you're going to get yourself to do something, deadlines help for many of us. Also, it helps to tell a friend and get some social pressure. You can make these positive changes by applying some eustress. You can look at the problem as a challenge that you can strive to accomplish. Think back to when you were writing a term paper in school. Remember the deadlines, the requirements, the need to get a good grade? These stressors all lead to a different performance for each person. For me, this process was eustress, good stress. But for others, it was very threatening, a threatening ordeal. It was distress. It becomes important to look at how we interpret the demands on us. We can choose the stories we tell ourselves about these demands. We can master our stories, as the writers of Crucial Conversations advised. When it comes to a request to do overtime from a boss, you could consider it an opportunity to make some extra money, a way for the boss to get out of something, a threat to your job if you don't do it, a challenge to see if you can still meet the priorities you set for that time, or a challenge to respectfully decline in light of other demands. Can you see how it is actually possible to interpret any demand as a threat or a challenge? You could be lamenting something that was never a problem. In the meantime, the boss has his or her own stresses. Sometimes you can see the stress of others. When you impose demands on yourself, you can push yourself to do more. So basically, what we're doing with Beyond Physical Health is sharing this idea that as you are starting off with some specific goals, you can hold yourself to them by saying, I'm willing to commit to doing this healthy stuff. Here are some basic examples. I'm willing to commit to sleeping at least 7 hours a day. I'm willing to commit to walking for 30 minutes every day. I'm willing to keep myself mentally focused by reading every day. I'm willing to commit to writing in my journal every day. I'm willing to work on myself and my social abilities and how I'm interacting with people to improve my relationships. I'm willing to work on my motivation and get balancing work, leisure, and self-care on a daily basis. I want us to think about this. Look for a moment at the health nut. A health nut might spend 8 hours a day at the gym, and then go home to eat a nutritionally perfect meal, and then go swim for another 5 hours, and then sleep the exact regimented 7 hours. Well, guess what? The health nut hasn't spoken to anybody, hasn't played any cards, hasn't done any work or anything fun, and hasn't done anything for anybody else. So it comes back to balancing, this functional balance of work, leisure, and self-care. If you're not in balance in those areas, you're going to be stressed out. The health nut needs to find ways to turn his distress into eustress. He can work on his physical self by doing leisure activities that are fun. He can consider exercise as part of his self-care and leisure at the same time. Many more people would do more exercise moving furniture. They'd prefer that to 10 reps of arm curls. But if I told you to reorganize the furniture in this beautiful room that you have, you'd be doing way more than 10 curls and pushing and pulling, and you'd also be completing a task. So that's what it's about, balancing your life to take control of your stress. The easy transformation piece of this effort is to try to incorporate this balance into all activities. When you are faced with a change, you can find the positive challenge in it, or you can see if it overwhelms you. By simply taking a moment to get control of the raging reaction, by simply looking at the story you might be telling yourself, you can regain control. Change isn't going to be as distressing from now on as you start to recognize the you stresses, the good stresses, all around you.